Proving Grounds. You're watching them. My name's TJ, joined by Cubby. Cubby, what do you have to prove?
I have to prove that I can cast just as good with a mustache as I could when I did not have one. How am I doing so far?
Alright.
Okay.
The mustache, because there's more drag on your upper lip as you open it to speak. So it's like...
It's made eating things rather messy, you know. Guacamole, not a friend.
I've never thought about the mechanics of eating with a mustache, and now I wish I hadn't. Let's talk about this game. We're heading towards TSM versus Golden Guardians, both, of course, the Academy rosters, and both, of course, in the lower bracket.
Facing elimination, and we're going to have to see which team can come out on top, as I think both teams, fair to say, rather close best-of-3 series that put them here, as TSM did fall to 100A, who Wildcard Red will face up next. We just saw them win. If you missed that one, sorry for the spoilers, but go check it out for sure. And Golden Guardians dropping to EGA as well in another close best-of-3. Games were rather one-sided each game, but, you know, it was Golden Guardians, I think, as a team, big focus on early game, and I think that's where a lot of our conversation is going to be around, at least in the early phases of these games, as Golden Guardians have been very good at getting leads. Their ability to snowball out those leads, when it looks good, they look like a great academy team, but their consistency isn't quite there yet.
They do, it feels, have a bit of a matchup advantage, though, versus TSM, because TSM tend to be a little bit slower to start, a little bit slower to get to those objectives. So Golden Guardians' fast pace gives them an advantage, I think, in the head-to-head.
And it's something that, at least in the early game, might be advantageous for the side of both Guardians, but as the game goes on, we've been very impressed with Hunter and Cody Sun's ability to play team fights as the game goes on. And it's something that for this iteration of TSM, along with the last one, really it's kind of like the saving grace for their team, as they are the ones that do pick up late game plays, will make them work, but I think that this iteration of TSMA, this split, the big positive for me has been how much Yurson has really stepped up as a support and his ability to find engages. I'm already seeing Yurson's effect on this game in the pick ban as Alistar, champion that we don't see a ton of. It's something that TSM has a very heavy priority on, and it's already being banned away by Golden Guardians.
Yeah, let's also talk about the other elephant in the room. TSM Academy are swapping between their mid laners occasionally. It will be Takeover instead of Sword here today. Do you have any opinions on that?
We haven't seen Sword since UGP, where fun history for this match. The last time these two teams met was in UGP, the Tier 1 to re-qualify for Proving Grounds, or I should say qualify for Proving Grounds. And the last time they met, Golden Guardians did 3-1 TSM about 3 weeks ago. So, different patch, but these teams are somewhat familiar with each other, have played with each other recently. Returning to the Takeover point, if I had to oversimplify things, Takeover plays a little bit more aggressive and for himself. Sword's better at playing for the team. So he likes to play the Karma, the Galio, the Set. Now Sword has actually made leaps and bounds of improvements in terms of his own individual play this split, but Takeover is still the pop-off player that TSM feel like might have a higher ceiling with. I don't know the diagnosis or the decision being made between the stars, but we have seen them play both mid laners. It has only been Takeover for Proving Grounds, but Sword could pop in at any point.
Yeah, Takeover, of course, the top-ranked mid on the NA ladder previously, also played in the LHE, which is the Chilean LLA kind of sub-league, like you have regional leagues for the LEC. So, has plenty of competitive experience, and he's come in hot to North America. Let's talk through the picks we've got so far, Cubby. Over on the Golden Guardian side, it is going to be Lee Sin and Ezreal. TSM follow it up with a Renekton and a Varus.
And for Golden Guardians that early pick Lee Sin, yeah, it's good on Rosethorn, but it's also a big deny from TSM as Hyper, really known for his Lee Sin play, coming from Illinois State University. That's where he made a name for himself, and I like the fact that Golden Guardians already indexing into that powerful mid-jungle duo. Talked about how Yunbi does like to enable Rosethorn in these early games, and Yunbi actually getting his the champion that he is known for, as I remember last year, Scouting Grounds, he got a pentakill on Rise. He has a 75% win rate on the champion in 8 plays this season, and he will be piloting the Rise for Game 1 for Golden Guardians.
So a lot of scaling already on both teams. The Varus, the Ezreal have similarly timed power spikes in the mid game. And then you've got this Syndra v Rise kind of clocking up into the late game. The difference is Golden Guardians, who normally have a little bit more emphasis on earlier play, do have that Lee Sin already waiting to make an impact on the first couple of minutes. What else do you want to see them add? Do they lean into the late game and use the Lee Sin as a bridge? Or should they pivot back into what they do best?
I'm kind of curious to see what jungler TSM takes, because they're saving counterpick most likely for Yurson. But because the Syndra was matched instead, or the mid lane was matched instead of the jungle, this does enable TSM or Golden Guardians to take a few junglers away from TSM to try and help that Lee Sin matchup. So Xin Zhao already taken off the table, and those bans from TSM may look a little bit funky, but Niles, amazing gangplank player, also loves to play the Kled, especially in that matchup versus Renekton. So trying to force Niles onto something like Gnar, a champion that is a very common matchup we see for the Renekton lane, but not something that we see Niles lean towards as much, would rather play the Brawlers, where he really finds his strength.
Yeah, the Jace, the Aurelia, what he has been real good at this split, both of them on the ban list here, as TSM Academy will go, like we were talking about, for the jungle pick first, and it does appear to be a Volibear. Golden Guardians, not sure what to make of that hover.
This could easily be an Ornn from Niles, as his Ornn, fun fact, actually 7-0 this split. So potentially putting the undefeated record on the line, as that is going to be locked in. Very decent matchup into the Renekton. Niles, of course, is known for his carry play, his brawler play, but is actually a fantastic Ornn as well. So excited to see him pilot that one, hopefully successfully. And now Newbie's going to have to blind a support. Rakan could be an option, but that's a pretty beefy front line, so I could see him opt for something like a Braum to play a little bit more defense.
We'll go for the Rakan. Newbie wanting to get aggressive here. TSM Academy still shuffling through their own final pick here. But I do like the Nautilus, and it will be locked in. So there we have it. TSM scaling into a brawly mid-game front-to-back composition, protecting the Syndra and that Varus in the back lines. Golden Guardians matching them with a little bit more lightweight early game composition, with that late game scaling coming from the Ornn from the Rise.
Yeah, Golden Guardians will outscale in this matchup, so I really want to keep our eyes on the Yurson in the early game, as I think that Yurson, a support that's really emerged and impressed a lot of people because of his ability to find angles, to find engages that no other support in Academy, like we've seen. I mean, this guy, some of the engages that he's able to find on Nautilus, or the pockets of vision that he's able to navigate through to find game-winning angles for TSM, is very impressive. And him and Cody saw it. They have a tough task going up against Prismal and Newbie, but definitely a strong bot lane that we have in Academy, one that looks for 2v2 kills early. So here's to see where Hyper Path or the Nautilus thing. Have gangs, so options for Hyper in this early game.
So here we go, the rematch, the elimination match now. Golden Guardians won this last time 3-1. Now, Proving Grounds is on the line as we head into Golden Guardians versus TSM Academy.
Find that, TJ? It was wonderful.
Yeah. No, we have a great producer Pine, and so I just trusted her whole heart, knew it was going to happen. We do have a really exciting storyline as well, along with Yursan. I say exciting, that's maybe overselling how good I feel about it. Yursan got on Twitter earlier today. If you want to find the tweets, he's at TSM_Yursan. And thanked his fans for following him, for supporting him while he's been here as part of the NA system. Previously, of course, he played in the PCS, and he's acknowledging that if this goes poorly, if he doesn't return on the TSM rosters next year, this could be his final game in North America.
Yeah, it's kind of a somber post to read, but hey, TSM, they do have the chance to make sure this isn't your son's final games with a win.
Oh no. Hubby has just vanished from the face of the planet, so I'll keep going as though he's here. Covey, you really like my fill, right? And then he's not going to answer, and I know I've won. TSM are playing this early game slow as we expected. No crazy invades. All of that aggression would have to come from Rosethorn, who steps up and gets things done. And Rosethorn has been one of those players, we were talking earlier in the other match about the kind of leaps and bounds that players are earning their redemption by. Rosethorn has been one of those players who, on his initial arrival into Academy, into competitive play, was criticized a great deal, but he's cleaned up his play and looked better and better every single game. He's easily one of the most improved players, and I'm very excited to see him take to the Rift here. So much of the early game from Golden Guardians revolving around him.
And we're gonna have to see.
Ooh, Cubby, you're alive!
Yeah, it's you know, internet's it's something. As the Midwest gives us a few surprises here and there, but should be good to go for this one. I definitely don't want to leave you on your own, TJ. I'm the one that has to keep you in check, you know?
What's going on in the Midwest?
Just, you know, internet tomfoolery. Just trying to make things interesting. And I'm actually bummed.
Like, who's trying to stop you? Who's censoring you, Cubby?
Stay tuned to find out in the next episode.
Cubby does not have an answer. He has returned, though. So I was talking a little bit about Rosethorn's journey and how important he is, of course, to this matchup as Golden Guardians' main source of value during the early game.
And that's something that I caught up with Rosethorn beforehand, and something that he actually talked a lot about. You know, dropping the lower bracket, obviously being a bummer. Losing your Raptors here, also going to be a bummer, as Yerson making good use of the early priority. TSM almost setting up an early double crab, but something that Rosethorn was pretty confident in is he said, you know, we don't want to underestimate this team, because players like Honster, players like Cody Sun, have historically really ramped up during this time when push comes to shove. And he feels like their opportunity to win, where they might have an advantage, is in the mid-game. He feels very confident in his team's mid-game, and so it'll be a challenge for them to try and navigate this mid-game, as the early spikes from Renekton, Voldabear, Syndra, Varus, they do spike earlier than Golden Guardians champions. So I have to see if they can lose gracefully and play out this one correctly, as Niles seems to be doing a good job of that, at least early, as taking advantage of this matchup. Ornn versus Renekton, who said this is something that Niles is very comfortable on. He's 7-0 on this champion. This is his 8th play.
You were giving me flashbacks for a while to Academy Rush, if you remember that, where it was only solo casters all of the time. Answer in trouble here, playing defense against Niles, but he calls in aid, and Niles flashes into the alcove. Does have backup on the way, both in the TP and the roam. Niles will find the knock-up, staying alive versus Hyper, forces Haunter to re-engage, and that opens things up for Rosethorn, but the TP's cancelled, so it feeds into a double kill, as Rosethorn and Niles both fall, and Yunbi cannot join the fight.
Oh, and Rosethorn, he was stun-knocked. He couldn't get the second proc of the Sonic Wave off, as Niles just trying to buy as much time as possible. Forces the flash out of Hyper, does get the knock-up, but from here, watch Rosethorn just get stun-knocked. He couldn't get the Sonic Wave off. He's trying to get the execute damage off possible. Oh, man, he goes for the auto on Hyper instead of Haunter. I think he was trying to auto-Q, but Haunter, the stun came up in time. And the auto comes up in time. Everything comes up TSMA's way as Rosethorn goes down. An early double kill in the pockets of Haunter, someone that has been a huge carry for TSM when they have had success.
Bold choice by our production team to show his soul leaving his body. I don't know how I feel about that, to be perfectly honest with you.
You know, he went into the wrong area of the zoo. Found an angry croc, angry bear.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, not good for these Sin.
A lot of dangerous animals on the loose, so TSM decided to eliminate at least one of them. The dragon. I'm going to get rid of this mountain drake, uncontested with that tempo advantage they just worked out. And this threatens what Golden Guardians have been pretty good at all split, which is controlling the first couple of minutes a game.
And for the side of TSM, this is the start that they needed for this team composition, TJ. As Syndra, Renekton, Voldabear, the 1 to 2 item spikes for all these champions, and before that as well, very powerful. And it's a way to get around the ornaments, you know, if Ornn ever able to get those items, right? Good way to navigate through that. So TSM, in fact, they've been able to put this together early. Very good sign, as you see how positive and how easy it is for Haunter to push Ornn around in this matchup, given the fact that he was granted a double wave lead and had red buff for a while in this thing.
And you did call it out, Niles undefeated so far on this champion. This split. And already I think at risk a little bit, as Haunter has gone 2-0 up and started bullying him.
And for Niles and for the rest of Golden Guardians, they really have to weather the storm here. As you can see, TSM trying to push the pace, trying to push the tempo, as Hyper has level 6 over Rosethorn, so that level advantage can try and get Frisky, take the blue buff.
Rosethorn in, does not get the blue buff. Hyper outsmites him, and Rosethorn is forced to flash over the wall. Takeover nearly finds him anyway, dropping the ultimate to chase, and this has gone very bad for Golden Guardians.
For the side of TSM, everything's coming up their way as it's a 2k gold lead, TJ. And really, Golden Guardians, the fact that they are getting milked out of some of those summoner spells, it means that they don't have the playmaking potential throughout. Not only does Hyper get the blue buff there, also gets the Grom, sticks around, and might even threaten a dive onto Niles. Does have ult to cancel out that turret.
Man, Takeover is doing such a good job as well. Like, he's had an incredible amount of impact on the map for somebody that doesn't have any kills yet. Roaming down, supporting the roams from Hyper, cancelling the teleport from Yunbi. Just incredible work.
Something that, when it comes to Takeover and his play, really has had to up his play in terms of the team play, right? And mostly individual mechanics we're seeing from him so far, but it is good to see him helping out the rest of his team, as taking advantage of that counter pick. TP cancel was critical, making sure that 2-for-0 went over the side of Haunter.
Who is that? Observer.
Cody's son taking a sidestep. No, he canceled the recall.
Yeah, but I wanted to follow the truth shot.
Oh, you wanted to go all the way.
Yeah.
Next
What's the point of having talented observers if we don't follow the truth shot?
Put in the request, we've got you. I say we, I have no say in this, but, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, you do, Cubby. They listen to you. Nobody listens to me. Oh, Rosethorn, that was clean. Nice little bit of kiting in the jungle here. As he tries to mitigate what was a disastrous early game, how do you feel about Golden Guardians' kind of chances of turning around this 2k gold deficit at this point, at the 10-minute mark?
They've got to bide their time, and they have to be careful around TSM, as you can see those level 6 marks coming in as... Oh!
Do it! Show me!
Here we go.
He's channeling, or Observer's channeling as well. Yeah! Woo!
He toys, baby. That's how it's done.
Thank you very much. That was perfect. Oh, beautiful. Extra little 10% on top. That's putting the whipped cream on top of the sundae.
I'm just along for the ride at this point.
Me and the Observer casting together. I don't need you anymore, Cutter.
I tried to make that a reality earlier, TJ.
Yeah, that's true. We are resetting to a neutral state, which is good for Golden Guardians who are trying to extend this game. Codyson called out by Rosethorn. Rosethorn will find the kick. The Ignite's ticking, but he does not have the kill.
Ezreal does go wide. Good attempt from Prismal. Good play there from Rosethorn to at least force Codyson out of the jungle. He'll be able to take some camps for himself, but the fact that kicks down, wasn't able to find the play. Hyper still gets the Rift Herald for himself, and this top lane turret, Haunter with that early lead, has already been putting the work in, so this should be first brick going over to the side of TSM as Hyper sprinting up here to take away the top side camps of Rosethorn, who will not be able to respond in time. Good play still coming out from TSM early.
Hyper pressing in behind all of this.
Drop it. Oh no. It's just chilling.
Lo-fi vibes to kill Gromp too. And I do want to go back to that play out of Codyson. He did, of course, burn Flash, burn Heal, both the Codyson summoners. Get him very low, have to recall. But not getting the kill for Rosethorn, as I think he did quite rightly realize that he wasn't going to be able to finish it before all the other pressure in the area collapsed upon him, means that TSM get the Rift Herald in exchange for that little bit of aggression showing on the map. And we're booking a ticket to the really late game if this Rift Herald finds any kind of value.
I think Golden Guardians would appreciate booking that ticket, though. It's what they need at this point, as they are still going to have to survive the siege of TSM. As you can see, they're already trying to set up the dragon stacking. They took the early Drake first. Already trying to fix their lanes so that they have shove. It can get this next one as Prismo is on a reset. And this should be the second dragon on time as TSM playing on schedule, trying to make this early game team comp turn it into an early game win. Be the second dragon, and guess what, TJ? It's a Cloud Dragon, so we can't get Cloud Rift, baby.
I'm so excited. We got an Ocean Rift. Oh, man. Between that and following True Shots, broadcast is getting better and better.
TJ relies on the production value of whatever soul we get. That's how TJ rates the broadcast.
There's a little deer.
Yeah. A little nature view. You might be getting a live action view on some violence here in the bot lane, as Rosethorn was setting up to try and
love
threaten.
that for him.
But TSM were standing far enough back where, at least I think this was going to happen, is Newbie.
Ooh,
Nice.
very good interrupt from Yursan. That saves Cody Sun's life, and Yursan flashes away on top of it. That was clean.
He had the counter pick at support. We see a lot of Leona into Rakan, but Yursan going for his tried and trusted Nautilus. Definitely something he indexes more into, and seeing why there is that was played beautifully by the support of TSM. And saves the first proactive play for Golden Guardians. It also makes sure that this first brick goes over to Haunter and Hyper, as they're going to try and get 2 crashes out of this one.
Yeah, and this was the thing I was talking about being worried for. TSM with this Rift Herald do find a turret and a half, and that's a lot of gold into their pockets. Golden Guardians have yet to really find a response on the map, so the kind of point at which they can contest this keeps getting moved later and later into the game. They need to last longer and longer in order to properly be able to fight. And that's not great, obviously, for Golden Guardians.
I know we're very complimentary of Golden Guardians and their ability to play out early games and play well in the mid game, try and secure those leads. But TSM, this early game they put together,
incredible.
It was something that with UGP, it improved throughout the tournament, and it's good to see some of that improvement coming to fruition here, as it's been very clean. I mean, even Hyper holding on to that Rift Herald ends up cashing out in the end as they get that second charge and do a lot of damage to that inner turret, which Haunter, if any more mistakes are made from Golden Guardians, Haunter can always take that down and get another 650 gold in his pocket. Says he's already out of control big. Finished Gore Drinker, completed Cole. When he bases, he's going to have another component and probably complete a boot stun as well. He's going to be a big problem to the side end of this game. And even Order scales well in the matchup. That timer, as you mentioned, CJ, is getting pushed further and further back.
Hyper will be roaming through the jungle, getting bigger and bigger as well, which I raise because you've got a very tanky front line in the TSM late game. They're going to be engaging on you with Volibear, and okay, Rosethorn walking right up into the bear pen, and he's just gone. Rosethorn's just dead.
Good calculation there from Hyper. Flashing preemptively, knowing his damage. Up a level, up an item. Takes advantage of that Divine Sunder, Volibear, and Hyper continues to drive home this lead that was granted originally by the play they made at the top side, granted by the cancel the teleport on takeover, as TSM just keep on putting the clamps on Golden Guardians, not allowing them to scale, not allowing them to farm for free. Good play coming out from the Academy team, as props to Hyper. He knows his limits here. He's played this 1v1 before, TJ.
Yeah, Hyper just playing a fighting game real quick.
Slam.
Ooh. And the preemptive flash you were talking about, mitigating Rosethorn's ability to escape. He realizes too late, he can't get out. There's already a ward inside that bush. It's a very, very clean kill. Golden Guardians lose their jungler again, and my point was going to be, it's really hard to gain access to Takeover on Cody Sun in the face of this front line. And now that Rosethorn is so far behind, doubly so.
The saving graces for Golden Guardians and dealing with that front line, it will be Ezreal poke combined with the ability for Yoon Beyond Rise to just try and control the fight, as Ezreal needs time to do damage against the front line that TSM has, and each play that TSM makes, that time just keeps on decreasing.
Yeah!
We have another dragon spawning here soon, TJ, and as we follow this true shot barrage into the base of TSM, 30 seconds till the Dragon. No more time to base for TSM as they're going to try actually secure the second Rift Herald to sync this up with the Dragon timer as this continues to be a beautiful early game from TSM. And Golden Guardians still struggling to find any footing in this one.
Rift Herald will be picked up by TSM as the lead continues to grow, like you were talking about. And here's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, Golden Guardians do have this late game. They do have the Ezreal poke. They do have the Rise. But how long do we need to wait for that to come online? The answer keeps getting longer. You know?
It's got to be 25, 30 minutes at this point. And yeah. TSM are going to force a fight earlier than that by taking this third Dragon. Will force Golden Guardians to contest the rest as they are deciding to drop this. Just make sure they get waves in on the top side and make sure Niles gets a little bit more gold in his system. He's trying to rival a pre-18-minute Sterex coming out from Haunster's Renekton. And that is very early. Yeah, it's a big croc.
I don't think you're talking about the zoo. I don't think this is an escaped zoo crocodile. This is one of those New York sewer crocodiles.
It's where the croc eats the zoo.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Sorry, I just immediately agreed with that. Is that a thing that happens?
No, but, you know, depends on if who's directing the movie.
Sure.
Little Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park, except there's a croc.
Yeah, I don't think that's as good a movie. I think the point of Jurassic Park is that they're dinosaurs, and everyone's like, whoa, there's dinosaurs.
Steven Spielberg plus dinosaurs equals undefeated, you know?
Sure. Separate point, but okay. We're a minute 40 seconds away from the Baron, 4 minutes away from what would be the Ocean Soul, both of which could be points by which TSM Academy force a fight. And a fight that Golden Guardians are as yet unequipped to take.
And I think for Golden Guardians, the things that they were waiting for in terms of itemization, the first one just hit, and that's Mirror Mana on Prismal combined with Sunderer. So Prismal has potential to poke out this very beefy front line and at least try and mitigate the health they'll be starting the fight with. The real challenge, though, is that they're very far behind, and it's so hard for Rosethorn and Newbie to find an angle as they're going to try and find one now.
Niles throws out the call. The forward gone. Oh, what a good true shot. They find Cody's son right at the start of the fight. Can they get more from this? Golden Guardians, a kill up, basically unscathed. Haunter and Takeover looking for an angle in, but they don't want to take the 4v5. And so Golden Guardians just assassinate Cody's son and get away with it.
They also got his flash, so this is something that we talked about how TSM, they have 3 dragons to their name. This flash will not be up for the next dragon fight, so they can look to punish this again as Cody's son not able to flash over that wall. Just means that he goes down in the end as Rosethorn is able to follow through on that Sonic Wave. Your summon can only cancel one person. That one not invested, but something invested wisely, and now opens up a window for Golden Guardians to try and punish that again.
Really, really well played by Golden Guardians, recognizing that they don't have enough damage to take a full 5-on-5 team fight, and instead being able to find an angle for that 1v1, for the isolated pickup.
We can't press R on the 5 people, but we can press R onto 1 person.
If 5 of us press R onto 1 person.
Good.
Yeah.
Got him made. Exactly what Golden Guardians did there. Going to try and emulate that, especially with Cody's son's flash now being down. It's going to force TSM to try and hover. Viper's posturing very aggressively as TSM are grouped up as 5. They're going to try and take down the third now.
5v2, nearly 3 as Rosethorn is in the area, but the answer is still clear as day. Golden Guardians back away, give up that mid-turret.
Does give Yunbi some time in the side lane. As Yunbi, the other item spike I was going to highlight when I said Golden Guardians were waiting for a few items to be completed before they fight, would be the completed Seraph's Embrace onto Yunbi, who after this wave and just breathing on that tower a little bit, should have that one ready to go in his bank account. He would have loved to have it.
Oh, that's enough. Turret goes down. We are 1 minute and 15 seconds away from a team fight, essentially. As that would be Ocean Soul to TSM if they did win the fight around it, so Golden Guardians must contest. So every little bit of gold that Yunbi can add before that fight is very important.
And Yunbi, of course, on this Rise will be a threat in the side lane for the rest of these games. TSM does have the opportunity to try and overcommit onto him, burning flashes and taking him down, but they have to send multiple members. Because right now, multiple members of each team trying to get that reset in before this Ocean Drake fight. This would be sole for TSM, so a big one for Golden Guardians. A must-win, perhaps. They try and crawl back into this game.
Yunbi's recall just got interrupted. He's actually getting chased away up there in the top lane by Hanser. I don't think he's in any danger, but he needs to back and buy up, and that means he's going to be late to this dragon. 18 seconds. That could be very important as the fight starts without him. Here's the TP. He'll join this fight. Already very low HP, but Hanser Hyper, they will join the action now and be able to regenerate some of that on the fly.
So Hyper got chunked out, but Niles, he can regen a lot of it on the fly because he's going to base and TP back into this one. So already a health bar advantage going over to Golden Guardians as they take control of the river based on that TP. Hyper is low health, and Golden Guardians might just try to force this dragon down and they get it for free.
Yunbi buys Seraph's Embrace off of that back wheeler hyping up, and he does so much damage now. That dragon just vanishes in a puff of blue smoke, and Golden Guardians take their first Drake of the game, their first fight of the game.
And Golden Guardians needed it too. They stepped up, they made that play happen, and talking with Rosethorn before these, he said, we'll get to the mid game. I feel like that's where we're a good team. That's where we can beat these guys, and they've done that. They have those first item spikes now with the scaling advantage team comp. And that was a very good play to chunk out Hyper. Niles using his health bar as a resource, then using TP to get back. Good team play coming out from Golden Guardians to keep them in this one.
Very good team play indeed. And it's the second time we've seen a very, very clean team fight out of Golden Guardians, the other being that assassination onto Cody's-son. And that gives me some hope after an early game that was defined by a little bit of miscommunication. Perhaps Golden Guardians coming into this late game get their heads back into it. It was just nerves. And they're ready to go.
And for Golden Guardians now, you can see how the landscape of the Rift has changed. Not from the Ocean Drake, but just from the fact that Golden Guardians were able to secure that last Ocean Drake. Look at how much more control they have on the Rift. They're actually able to contest sides. They're not seeding every camp, every turret like TSM was able to take previously. And this 1k gold deficit, gold-wise, is honestly not that bad for Golden Guardians. Like the Guardians, especially considering the fact that Ezreal has that evolved tier. Same with Rise. Ornaments are starting to come on in. This is a pretty close game we have on the scoreboard.
Very close. TSM had the lead the entire early game, but it is Golden Guardians who fought their way back into this with a series of well-coordinated team fights. Kind of inverse to our series-setting expectations, Cubby.
I thought you were about to say kind of inverse to the last series we had.
Also true.
The last game we had.
Also true.
I'm still not recovered from that. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think anyone is. Here's the push from Prismal in the mid lane. Just getting a little bit frisky. We are 2 minutes away from that next Drake. Neither team feels comfortable starting the Baron. Lots of vision around here for Golden Guardians, even though TSM are walking this way. They certainly won't get a free chance to start it, to burn it.
At this point of the game, though, it feels like Golden Guardians are controlling all three lanes. Ornn is scaled into this matchup against Renekton. Prismal can just free poke mid, and then matching Yurson for Yuumi on a side lane's tough as ult
Cody's son. That was cheeky. Answer here to punish as the turret falls in the mid lane. Niles eats the damage. Yunbi realm warps in. Mid turret dies. Yunbi doesn't have damage. Yurson flashes forward, isolating a kill with the depth charge, but Prismal will back away successfully. TSM lose a turret to some very good posturing from Golden Guardians.
They also burned the TP from Takeover to try and contest that one, so that will not be available for the Dragon fight, which is another target that Golden Guardians can look to poke, chip out. And things are getting harder and harder. That's an Anathema's Chains now for Niles. You can limit the damage on Varus quite a bit. Looks like he might use it on Syndra as well, so he can index full armor after that. And it's another ornament coming through now for Prismal on this Divine Sunderer. So It's a 400 gold deficit for Golden Guardians on the scoreboard, but you got to deal with these Ornn items now being completed. They're actually up in gold coming into this next dragon, making this Ocean Soul even more important for TSM to secure on this spawn.
And it's also, of course, important to recognize the power spikes. Yunbi doing a lot of damage right now.
He's got 300 creeps at the 27-minute mark.
Yeah.
Holy smoke, this guy's power farm. He's on a mission.
Yunbi absolutely killing it.
I feel like for Yunbi, it's like one of those solo queue games where it's just like a tough start. It's like, sorry guys, I'm muting all. See you on the other side. And he blasts the music.
Lane, put on some music, turn on Spotify.
Yeah. He's zooming.
You know it's bad when you pull out the Spotify playlist and just start clicking, clearing CS.
Yeah. And, I mean, for Golden Guardians, it's paid off as Yunbi.
Ooh, in trouble. Your son nearly isolates him. Depth charge will connect, but he's back to safety by that time. Flash is blown, though. It's very clear TSM understand that Yunbi must be focused down. And
but that's it. They can't contest this next dragon. That's their engage tool down. Your son's their best way to engage fights, so they're trying to retreat into the Baron Pit, trying to threaten it, but Golden Guardians have the crab. So that means that TSM come up with nothing. And Golden Guardians get the second dragon of their game now, for free, off of one flash being burned by Yunbi, because it was a failed engage from TSM.
We'll check it. Very nice follow production. We'll check the Baron Pit just in case, at Golden Guardians. And indeed, there's nobody in it.
And TSM, they do knock down that top inner turret, but I'm not sure that Haunter actually got the local goal for that, which of course was super juiced, like a Draven axe follow through into passive. You know.
What?
Bad reference. If you saw the last game, you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. I just didn't follow. It's fine. Everyone tries some things, Cubby. Sometimes they don't work out. I've been there. Wow.
That's Ryze in the side lane. He's level 16 now. That's a buff overload as Yunbi. This is a champion that he really made a name for himself off of when he was making his climb through the Scouting Ground circuit last year. Went up big in this one as Rosethorn getting chased down, but TSM can't get in range.
Yeah, Rosethorn was just kind of shadowing there, making sure there wasn't someone cutting off Yunbi by running down the river. It's a really good team play again. And it enables Yunbi to step up. I'm a little worried for him because there are 3 players down there contesting. Poke down the mid lane, I guess.
I mean, that is the poke that Prismal would take if he's a Varus Q. But Prismal actually building very defensively here, TJ. He has opted for both Glacial Shroud and the Hexdrinker, trying to survive both Syndra and Cody's Suncoat. It means that, yeah, Prismal can do things like that. Arcane Shift in and not be scared as Niles.
Cool, the Forge gone. Nice. We now see 2 ultimates blown down the mid lane to do about equivalent damage.
They crash the wave top. It's all worth it, right? That wave's dying right now to that turret. That's how slow this game is, TJ. We're trading ults for waves.
Yeah! It's League of Legends, baby!
How does the LCK do it, man? I don't know.
I mean, LCK is pretty fast these days, nah.
Not the games I saw.
You can definitely still catch bad games, but...
Well, what I like is that there's, like, the group handshake. Like, we're going to fight every objective no matter what. But then we don't fight besides that, as your son will have to flash out. Brought out trying to sweep some vision on the Baron Pit, and I like what Golden Guardians are doing, TJ. Just keep on leading out individual summoners, individual ultimates.
They see this back. They just stole that back.
They don't let it go. They want the Ocean Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
rotate down.
Base. But Prismal is in base now with a completed Frozen Heart, so yet again, Golden Guardians continue to scale, continue to chill. Only down 1k gold. Who cares at this point? Feels like they're up in the game, especially with the stopwatches coming through. It shows you how important this next fight is for Golden Guardians. A huge investment from them, buying those 3 stopwatches on your screen. Another 5v5, Niles.
Eats the chain of corruption, and it's tasty. He'll turn the tables with an excellent call. The Forge God just splitting this fight. He leaves your son and Hyper out to dry. Haunter tries to get in, and he's burned down. Prismal, Yunbi, alive and thriving in the back lines. They pump out the damage, annihilate Yursan's massive HP bar, and they're turning their realm warping right into the Baron Pit.
They brought a few minions with them too, as this is going to melt at the hands of Rise. Look at the damage the Golden Guardians are putting down. That's a free Baron for them off the back of a fight where the support only goes down. Look at how quick Golden Guardians punish that. And at the perfect time too, because guess what, TJ? 1 minute, 15 seconds away from that Ocean Dragon. They must stop the soul from TSM, which feels like their only chance to really scale into the game with Golden Guardians. And it feels like it's too late for TSM, as dominant as the first 20 minutes of the game were. Golden Guardians have bounced back in a way that's just as dominant, and with their comp are looking good to win this game.
Haunter did collect 70 gold there from wards, though. So, checkmate.
That's where we're at. As the singular kill going over to GG. That's enough to open things up, and this engage onto Prismal, I think it was trying to find Yunbi, but Haunter or Hyper, they just aren't there in enough time. And this split fight from TSM allows the backliners of Golden Guardians to just fire off spell after spell. If Prismal, the Arcane shifted back there, just staying safe, he goes forward, I think they could have wiped that fight even harder. As now they're just using that Baron, using the strength they have in their comp now to choke TSM out of the bot side jungle, make sure that Ocean Dragon isn't an outside win condition. They're starting the siege.
I do want to flag Haunter in that bottom lane, still threatening, ready to siege against the turret. Niles, who did so good as part of the team fight in that last fight, now needs to catch the wave. He does have a teleport. Drake's up, and Rosethorn's just soloing it. Nobody nearby. It's free for Golden Guardians.
And this choice for Golden Guardians, as weird as it sounds, kind of going back in times, it seems like we have a little bit of time. Resets are coming out from each team. Golden Guardians' choice to drop the third Drake, while risky, really feels like it paid off, DJ. Because, you know, fighting that dragon at that time, that's a tough decision for teams to make. One that happens very often in comps. Do we fight this? Do we let it go? Because it does put you on the clock. Every 5 minutes, you have to be at bot side river. Make sure that Ocean Soul doesn't go over. Golden Guardians taking that risk, it paid off tenfold. And I think it was the right choice for them, given all the scaling that they have in their composition. It's really neutralized what TSM wanted to do in this game, which was brawl early. That ball.
Yunbi from the bush, will have to flash away, is caught by the death charge, but he's able to get to safety. And Haunter blows Dominus here. We'll see if it gets him out. Call the Forge God finds two. Hyper furthest forward. True Shot chunks down Cody-san. Haunter is split. Realm warped. Try and bring Yunbi closer to the action. Hyper, Haunter, the two tanks eat the damage, and Hyper is dropped down below half HP. As Golden Guardians win the skirmish, and they're going to start taking turrets.
It was all ruse. Prismal, he's there as... Oh. I think your son just had the Hex Flash bug, where you Hex Flash and then use your actual flash.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did as well, as that's a big cooldown out of the pockets from the TSM Academy support. That flash, maybe one of the only things that could save and engage is, I think flashing onto Yunbi is the only way that TSM has a chance to win the fight, considering how much damage the Rise is pumping out at this point of the game, TJ, and the fact that Yunbi did burn his flash to dodge out on that last engage.
To see what they can make do. Hyper gets a thumbs up.
Just smite them.
Start says, very cool, dude. Uh-oh. Okay, we're fine. Restor playing uncomfortably close to the edge there.
Is he, though? Is Prismal at this point, with the Maw and the Frozen Heart now completed, I really don't think Ezreal can die this game. This Ezreal is going to be doing whatever he wants in these fights against TSM. And I think Prismal is like going to have to try on purpose to die at this point.
Yeah.
He is very tanky.
I do also want to highlight Rabadon's finished for Yunbi, so...
Oh boy.
If you thought his damage was big earlier, may I introduce you to bigger damage?
Good. An old friend.
Really?
Yeah.
Thought you were a Braum man. Niles in the side lane
soloing.
Man. Haunter here. Yursan and Cody-san come in. Niles recognizes the situation. He's stunned out of the call. The Forge God. True Shot wide as well. TSM, you're not going to get a better chance than this. Here they go. Niles, half HP already. Oh dear, your Sam's just blown up though. Yunbi arrives in the fight, and it is terrifying. Half HP on Prismal, but he's fine. Dealing damage, knocking Haunter into GA. He's isolated, will be out of the GA, threatening Yunbi again, but shut down by Prismal. Rosethorn too far forward, will be able to come out of stasis with a kick. Yunbi and Newbie now both dead. 2 for 3. Hyper needs to step forward. Him and Cody-san do not. They back away here.
TSM, I think you called it out, TJ. That was their best opportunity to try and come back in this game, and flashes blown from both solo laners. They still lose out on the fight, lose out on the GA from Haunter as well. And keep in mind, those are sums now down for the next Dragon fight, as up to the side of TSM to try and punish these, as Prismal. I like this build this game. It's a low damage team composition he's going up against, so going the double tank items and just enabling yourself to walk up as much as you can as the Ezreal, I think it's really worked out well for the side of Golden Guardians, as Prismal gets to play so aggressively with these items, as we're going way back in time.
Yeah, check this out. It's a time machine to the mid-game fight. This was...
I don't think have we seen this fight?
Oh, it's brand new?
Brand spanking new.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Cody.
Getting absolutely wrecked in the side of that fight.
It's a trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. We were talking about movies earlier.
I think I'm in a Christopher Nolan movie. I'm struggling to keep track of everything. What are the timelines?
Now we just need really loud music to play over us.
Hold up, here it is. It was a preview. Oh my god. What? Coming!
Here we go. You get the cheat code for this. Now you know what to do.
Alright, I'm ready. Isolated in the side lane. It's going to be big trouble here for Haunter as Rosethorn springs the trap onto him alongside Yunbi. They're going to melt him down. But in the meantime, mid lane, Cold Forge God goes wide and Niles steps up. He'll be burned down by Hyper. Newbie dances through the fight and Hyper is isolated. Now he's in real trouble and will go down as soon as he comes out the other side. So Rosethorn dives into the back lines, threatening Yursan. This true shot chunks Cody low, but they're not going to be able to find a kill.
And this could be Ocean Soul for Golden Guardians Academy if they wanted to retreat, but there was no going backwards from them, only forwards as they take down 2. They feel like that might be enough to take the game, or at least an inhibitor. Going to be doing some manicuring of the base here against TSM Academy, and Golden Guardians, props to them. This is what we saw Resolve try and do in Game 1 of the day against Wildcard, right? Take that scaling. Wait for the game to break out. Wait for the levels to get in your favor. They were not successful, but Golden Guardians Academy here have been very successful in playing out this scaling comp, and really off the back of Prismal's play. And his build, he can play so aggressively, no one can take him down on the side of TSM. It's so difficult for them at this point. Prismal just free firing upon him. Golden Guardians taking everything they want.
You just want the replay thing, but it says preview in the top corner.
Okay, I feel like we need the same replay again. And then it really does feel like Tenet, you know? Like, go, like, through, like, the doors.
All right, we're folding the timelines.
Yes.
What is it? It's a temporal pincer maneuver.
Yeah, that's it.
Ocean Soul complete for Golden Guardians. As they do look towards this Baron.
A temporal pincer.
Yeah.
Someone got paid to come up with that phrase. It was pretty good. I could not do that on my own.
It's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan paid himself to come up with that phrase.
Play the loud music with lots of strings.
Also that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't make sense if you thought about it, but I enjoyed it.
Very
Niles, you'll step up here. Send us reviews of Tenet. Yursan in trouble as the true shot chunks through the team. Niles comes out a little behind as Cody-san finds some good value at the very back of this fight.
He does have the Warmogs, so he will be able to regen now, as that doesn't feel very fair. Not to mention Ocean Soul. That's a flash, that's a dead there. Oh,
goodbye, Hyper. He's melted, and that, frankly, should be the game. Golden Guardians, what a performance in this game, number 1.
Go.
Niles on the Realm Warp in, zones Yursan away. This inhibitor turret will fall, and he's called the Forge Godding. He'll be interrupted by Cody-san, nailing him to the ground, but that's okay. It's a cooldown wasted as the inhibitors melt. Haunter steps forward. He needs to save this Nexus, and he can't do it. Niles is eating a lot of damage, but Haunter is already dead, and they're chasing him into the fountain. as TSM controlled this game early, and Golden Guardians just held the game at pause, at stasis, until they came online, at which point we go 1-0 up in the series.
And I love the way that GG played out the rest of the game. This was their game plan from the start. There are a few things that didn't go their way early, but they were able to turtle. They were able to seed the right objectives, able to get farm on their carries, get those 2 tier items completed before that 4th dragon, and from there, it was all Golden Guardians, as they had outscaled at that point. TSM weren't able to punish hard enough and end up falling for it, as Golden Guardians, 40 minutes may not look the cleanest on the scoreboard, but hey, the second 20 minutes I'd say was rather decently played from them, as they mitigated risk and made sure that game was theirs.
I was just incredibly impressed by what happened for Golden Guardians after that 20-minute mark. I do think if you're TSM, you have to be asking questions about the Golden Guardians of the first 20 minutes. Saying, well, how can we get them back? How can we interrupt the play such that we are able to take advantage of those kinds of, like, macro mistakes, some team play mistakes? Because they vanished as soon as it felt like Golden Guardians were behind, and they said, okay, we've got to focus in, and they became a much stronger team.
I mean, it helps when you got Ryze and Ezreal, but yeah, I do appreciate the fact that I think the biggest decision in that game from Golden Guardians was, quite honestly, dropping that 3rd dragon. That's a risky choice to make as a team, but they did it cleanly. They traded waves on Yunbi, which doesn't sound like a good trade, but when you have that scaling, those are sometimes the decisions that you have to make to get to the right game state. We're able to do that.
And that kill that put them back into the game, where they catch Cody Sun in the middle of the map and
Splash.
spend all of their ultimates to kill Cody Sun and then disengage. Like, that's incredible team play. It's really good shot calling to recognize that's the ticket back into the game. It's really good in-fight communication to coordinate all of that. And it just builds one good fight there, and then they follow it up with one of the cleanest team fights we've seen today, which is high praise, and win the game from there on out. It's never difficult again.
Talking with Rosethorn before, is like, I feel like we can win in the mid game. I feel like that's where we have the advantage in that game. I think they made the right decisions in the mid game to get them in the right game state, to hit the late game, hit the stride of their composition, and I don't know what else to say, man. Niles Ornn 8-0, not bad.
Not bad at all, as Niles' Ornn remains undefeated. We'll go to a break and we'll come back with game number 2 in this best of 3 series. The lower bracket and elimination match continues after this.